I'm joined now by the ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Congressman Mike McCaul of Texas, who has investigated the World Health Organization's refusal to heed warnings about the virus early on. Congressman, always good of you to join us, sir. The president was talking numbers there, and he was saying, 450 million the Americans gave, Chinese gave 40 million. The bottom line in this whole thing is that the United States in 2019 was 15%, funded 15% of the World Health Organization's budget. So pulling out is a catastrophic hit for the organization.
Well, I think the president's sending a message. It's a one-year notification. So in a sense, Tracy's putting them on probation until they can get their act together. I think we need a leader at the WHO who cares more about global health than appeasing the Chinese Communist Party, which is what Director General Tedros is. He was their candidate to lead the World Health Organization. The president's correct that, when we came out with this report, every step of the way, when whether it was the CCP detaining doctors, arresting them, silencing them, going into labs, destroying samples, and then critically traced when the human-to-human transmission was being reported by the WHO's own expert in Wuhan that this was contagious, it was human-to-human. Tedros decided to decline to alert the world to what was becoming a global pandemic. His paramount issue and mission at the WHO. Right. I don't see in the private sector how any CEO could survive that. And so we believe that until Tedros goes and we can reform the WHO, that we're going to put him on notice.
But I wonder, Congressman, if there's a concern in your mind or in others that because the United States is pulling out, maybe briefly, maybe for the long term, we don't know, is it kind of taking some of the influence away from the United States? And is it maybe giving more influence to China about setting global health policy? And would that concern you?
I do think we need to remain engaged with the World Health Organization as well as the United Nations. Trace, part of what we're looking at with the China task force that I'm chairing is the outright takeover of the United Nations by the Chinese Communist Party. They have systematically taken over key leadership positions within the UN. I've talked to the Secretary of State about this. We have to fight back and take over more influence within the United Nations and the WHO, for that matter, make it stronger. But until it's reformed and Tedros is gone, it'll be very difficult to do that.
Yeah, I want to put up a couple of the opposing statements here. I'll start with Senator Patty Murray's statement on the withdrawal. And she says, and I'm quoting here, "This is an abdication of America's role as a global leader. And it is the opposite of putting America first. It will put America at risk. Refusing to work with our partners across the world to fight this pandemic will only prolong the crisis, further undermine our international standing, and leave us less prepared for future crises." Former Vice President Joe Biden added this in a tweet, quoting here, "Americans are safer when America is engaged in strengthening global health. On my first day as president, I will rejoin the WHO and restore our leadership on the world stage." What would you say to them, Congressman?
Well, how about putting Taiwan back as an observer within the World Health Organization? Tedros kicked Taiwan out because of his allegiance to President Xi and the Chinese Communist Party. I would say to them, yes, we need to remain engaged. What the president's really doing here, if you look carefully, is he's entering into another negotiation. He's a very good deal maker. He's putting absolute pressure and leverage on the WHO to reform itself, and it cannot be reformed with Tedros and the Chinese Communist Party controlling it. When that changes, and they have 1 year to get their act together, I think we have a very different scenario where we could really strengthen the WHO after it being reformed. So it works for the global health, not the CCP's health or propaganda, if you will.
And I got about 30 seconds left, Congressman, but are you concerned during that 1 year, if it really is only 1 year, that with these vaccines, potential vaccines coming out, therapies, treatments coming out for coronavirus, that maybe the U.S. won't be at the top of the pecking order when it comes to getting these vaccines because they pulled out of the World Health Organization? 15 seconds, sir.
Well, we're very engaged with our European allies, and I'll tell you this, the Chinese, as I speak, are actively trying to breach by cyber attacks to steal our research and development for the vaccine so that they can claim that they saved the world from the very virus, the very pandemic that they created themselves. That's the irony.
Texas Congressman Mike McCaul, always good to see you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Trace.